Hello, Pastor Steve Waldron. I hope you're having a great day or night in Jesus. So thankful you've come by to be with us. Ran across this fascinating article on the KJV store by Gail Riplinger, which I know many of you don't like her, but she did some amazing research on nuances of King James versions. So I've done a part 1 on this. Now, how our videos are uploaded and scheduled in advance, you actually may be seeing this video first. Or even years from now, you may run across part 2 instead of part 1. And we may do several parts of this. This is so good. I hate to skip. I had it down to I was only going to present 2 points. And I'm like, this is all great. So I'm just going to read it all. So, and I think you'd agree with me, even if you don't like her, don't appreciate her, and have been kind of almost brainwashed against her. She did incredible research here. Okay, so let's get started. And excerpts Dr. Gail Riplinger, Settings of the King James Bible. The 1769 edition done by Blaney also had its own typos. See, a lot of people say the 1769 second paragraph edition is what they use. The name 1769 is frequently and wrongly applied to digital editions on the internet, which are simply a digitization of the Cambridge Concord edition, a singular variety of the Cambridge text. No one has digitized, to our knowledge, the actual 1769. It would be pointless to do so. I said, to my knowledge. She didn't say that. The 1769 banner is a straw man created by KJV critics and unwisely adopted by KJV users. Within the Cambridge family, there are, generally speaking, 3 types of settings. This is fantastic info. The Cambridge Concord and the Windsor. Pierce's placement of paragraph marks, notably after Acts 20:36, is not standard, however. Then the second of the 3 type settings, most of the other editions, the turquoise, the cameo, and the large print, etc. And number 3, what's known as the standard text. A 4th variety has been presumptuously named the Pure Cambridge Edition, PCE, is an out-of-print Cambridge setting determined to be pure by Mr. Verschuur, a young and ambitious Pentecostal man from Australia. His research is fairly exhaustive and he's to be commended for it. But his conclusions that the Cambridge setting he uses is in all points superior to other Cambridge settings cannot be defended at every point. So like if you're on eBay or something, you'll see a lot of Bibles for sale, and out beside it'll say PCE. What that means is it fits the, I think it's 18-point criteria for a pure Cambridge Bible. And according to Verschuur, that's the purest King James. She would actually disagree on 1 point with that. All right. On these points, he relies on his Pentecostal experiences to defend them as described in his book. Such non-scriptural and non-historical accurate accidents are inadmissible in this debate. No one will be misled by any Cambridge Bible, and none of the Cambridge variants can be defended unquestionably. She's got that in bold. Now I want to say, too, I've had people, maybe like David Cloud, Pete Ruckman, other people, they would all say, too, you know, should I use a Holman? Should I use a Nelson? Should I use what? And they would say, basically, the worst King James is better than the best other translation. Now, this is for people that are really into the King James. And I know many of you are not. Many of you are Textus Receptus, MEV, KJVR, AKJV, different things such as that. I may have mentioned MEV already, New King James, all of this. So this is just a particular segment, a subset of people that are really into the King James, but again, I think a lot of people might find it interesting. Those who are adamant about such things are generally basing their conclusions upon a narrow collection and collation of Bibles than those who are less adamant. The righteous rigor with which King James Bible users have defended the KJV cannot be carried forward onto a debate between the orthography of 1 or 2 words, such as spirit capitalized or giba, which defy historical and theological resolution. The following are the differences in current Cambridge editions. And I found this fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. There seems to be no point in collating out of print editions except to trace history. This list may not be exhaustive. I appreciate, like, when D.A. Waite, he read the King James 1611 while listening to Scorby, and found all the differences to the year. Stuff like this just is great research. When I say accept the standard, EXCEPT, I mean the setting sold by Cambridge and referred to as the standard text. So this list may not be exhaustive. It seems to be unique among Cambridge editions and would require its own collation, which I have not done. So it seems like Cambridge is like when people want to use something on computer, they just send out something called the Cambridge Standard Text. So, and it's different from these texts slightly. Genesis 24:57, etc., uses inquire with an E. That's the Concord and Windsor Cambridge. And then inquire with an I, that's the PCE, Pure Cambridge, and all other Cambridge settings except the standard text. The original KJV used both inquire and inquire with an I in various places, generally using inquire with an E. Neither the Cambridge Bibles nor any other modern printer makes these fine distinctions. So finger pointing is pointless. Therefore, the penchant for inquire with an I by the PCE is rather weak. Then she has further research is needed as to the age of the Concord spelling and whether biblical orthography is repressed by the following words. Number 6.5, razor with a Z is in Concord and Windsor. And razor with an S, PCE, and all other Cambridge Bibles except the Cambridge text. The oldest spelling is razor with an S, which gives it more weight. One generally wants to avoid modernizations and Americanizations. This is one of the very few instances in which the Concord has a more modern spelling than the 1611. However, modern is a relative word, as the spelling razor, Z, is seen in the 1819 Cambridge edition in my collection. Now, so we're talking about, like, this is a Cambridge large print, just stuff we've got around. This is a TBS large print. Well, the new TBS large print family Bible is the Windsor text. So, and this was done in 2010, so it was before it was the large print text. And I'm sitting here looking, and this is a Concord text. Concord text. So the Concord and the Windsor are going to be together. And then the large prints and the turquoise are going to be together. But you can see, I mean, it's a matter of spellings. Isaiah 9:6. Counselor, Concord, Windsor. That's counselor with an O in the next to last letter. And counselor with an E in the PCE and all other Cambridge editions except the standard text. Ezekiel 47:3, ankles with a K, Concord, Windsor, and ankles with a C, PCE, and all other modern Cambridge editions except the standard text. Now, I want to do this justice, and so I'll finish this off at another time, but it's just a fascinating study. You may want to get this, download it, whatever, and keep it for your records against Gail Ripplinger on the KJV store. It's got some of the most valuable information I have ever seen personally in my life about nuances of the King James. So I don't know what, like the Schuyler, I use that a lot. I preach out of the Canterbury. I'm like, oh, you know, should I go back to using my King James large print Cambridge? Anyhow, God bless. We love you. Praying for everybody that watches. Just want you to find the love of God in its fullness. Talk with you later in Jesus' name.